Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. I've got a very interesting episode for you today because I've got two questions for you. My question number one is, can a citizen of this country be a Laabharthi to a government policy? That is, beneficiary to a government policy. Can a citizen be that? That's a question I want to ask tonight. That's my question number one. My question number two is, IT has raided a lot of people connected to Shivsena in Mumbai, Maharashtra. Shivsena MP has gone to the police to complain about Enforcement Directorate because he believes that Enforcement Directorate, officers of Enforcement Directorate have been extorting money from builders and businessmen. Acha, this is what is happening in Mumbai, Maharashtra. My question is, IT works for politician, ED works for politician, police works for politician. I wonder who works for us. Let's get right into the show. When I was young, I used to have a scooter. From a very big brand, from a very famous brand those days. And India didn't have international brands and all that. So it was an Indian brand. And every morning I would have to bend the scooter and then kick it. Only then it would start. So I couldn't just start the scooter by just kick-starting it. I had to bend it and kick-start the scooter. And actually, if somebody would ask me at that point in time, is this a good scooter? I would say, "Arey, it's one of the best scooters that you can ever buy." I took that bending and kicking as part of my life, as part of how would you start a scooter. Like you put a key and you kick-start it. I thought that bending and kicking, in my mind, was as much as part of putting the key and kick-starting the scooter. So it was as simple as that. My expectations possibly from that scooter was very minimalistic. So I was okay. Why am I saying this? I am saying this because my first question that I asked, can a citizen be Laabharthi of a government policy? Can a citizen be that? It is like, in my mind, telling a sheep that, listen, Mr. Sheep, I will get you warm clothes, I will get you a sweater. And you take wool from his own body and give him a sweater. And say that, listen, I have donated a sweater to you. I feel this is what the story is. Why? Because when you say you are feeding 85 crore people and giving them free ration, who is actually paying for it? The citizens are paying for it, isn't it? Our tax money is going to ensure that food is procured, that grains are procured, that those oil is procured and all of that. Our tax money is going into it. So from our tax money, it has been gifted to our people, and the government claims that we are Laabharthis. Laabharthis. We gave people free food. Who gave people free food? The Bharatiya Janata Party government or the government of that particular state gave free food. But if I remember right, we paid for it. We paid for it through our GST, we paid for it through our taxes, we paid for it through our nose. But the benefit of all of that is going to the government. But I didn't understand this concept. And the worst thing is like the scooter. People are accepting it and saying, thank you so much, government, you paid, you gave us food. Mera namak khaya hai is what the Prime Minister had said in one of the meetings. So, I don't blame the government. I don't blame the political party. Neither do I blame the Prime Minister for saying it. I blame the people for accepting it. I got a mail from a person, a viewer, who wrote to me asking me whether is it the responsibility of the government to evacuate people from a war-torn area? Is it the responsibility of the government? Arey bhai, humne to nahi bola tha, government ne nahi bola tha to send your kids to war-torn area or to any area. You could have made them study in your own country. Why did you send them in different places? Do you know, As a responsible government, it is the duty of the government to safeguard our people, not only in our own country, but anywhere in the world. Any and every government should do it. That is their duty. That is not a favor. It is nothing big. You don't have to put a poster to that. You don't have to put a poster. It is like a taxi driver driving you from one destination to another, and after the drive you paying him, you don't have to fall at his feet and saying, thank you for dropping me. You don't, you paid. That's his job. He's a taxi driver, for crying out loud. And that's exactly what happens to a government. It's the job of a government to ensure that we are fed. It is the job of the government to ensure that the people are healthy. It is the job of the government to ensure that the people are safe. It is the job of the government to ensure that if our safety is threatened, not only in Indian soil, but anywhere in the world, the government ensures that we are protected and brought back to India. That's the job of the government. What is big? What is something that the government can go and advertise and talk about would be if there is tremendous amount of growth in economy. The government can say, Dekho, I brought about a 300% growth in economy. That's fabulous. That's achievement. If there is zero child mortality in India, or a very low mortality, child mortality in India, the government can say, Dekho, this is what I brought about. This is what I brought about. The government can say. If there is fabulous health facilities in India, everywhere, every nook and corner of India, the government can come and tell you, listen, this is what I brought about. Advertise for it. Feeding people, getting children from a war-torn zone. This is what a government is supposed to do, for crying out loud. We are 130 crore people with so many infrastructure, so many aircrafts, whatever kind of international relationships that we have. It's the least we can do for our people, isn't it? So that's the question I wanted to ask tonight, that, I never could understand this question of Laabharthi, and somewhere down the line, I think such issues, such basic things, duty that the government performs, are made into advertising propositions or unique selling propositions for the government. I think the fault is not that of the government or the political party. The fault lies with us. Let's get to our next topic. IT incidentally raided a lot of people who are connected with Shivsena. Now, Rahul Kanal, who is the core committee member of Shivsena Youth Wing, was raided. Chartered accountant of Anil Parab is the minister of Shivsena in Maharashtra. His chartered accountant was raided. Deputy RTO Bajrang Karmate, also linked to Anil Parab in some form, who was also named in ED for the transfers and postings and all, if you remember. He also was raided. And Sada Kadam, who is incidentally the brother of Ramdas Kadam. Ramdas Kadam, again, a senior Shivsena leader, former minister of Shivsena, even he was raided. So a lot of Shivsena and people connected to Shivsena were raided. Okay. Is raiding these people, IT raided them, income tax department raided them. Is raiding these people wrong? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I will tell you, let me go ahead and then let's come to the conclusion of all this incident. You see, in the meantime, Sanjay Raut, the member of parliament, Rajya Sabha of Shivsena, he made a press conference. He took a press conference yesterday and he made a claim in that press conference. He said that ED, Enforcement Directorate, has been extorting businessmen and builders. He says that whenever ED raided some companies, in fact close to 70 companies, whenever ED went and raided them, the large sum of money was given to a man called Jitendra Navlani. In fact, Arvind Bhosle, one of the workers of Shivsena, one of the leaders of Shivsena, complained to Sanjay Pandey, the Commissioner of Police, and said that, listen, more than 70 companies, which includes corporates and builders, has paid close to 50 crores of rupees via digital transfer and checks, okay, to this gentleman called Navlani, and 100 crores of rupees cash between 2015 and 2020. And all this money has been routed to this officers in Enforcement Directorate. He says, he has not named officers and all, but he says some 4 or 5 people are involved. Okay. This is the story. Now, why are we talking about it? You see, it is good that income tax raids. It is not good. They raided us also. Okay. If they find that we are doing something wrong, they should raid us. But raiding a political party before an election, raiding people connected to a political party before the election I am emphasizing because there is municipal election happening in the next 1 month in Mumbai. So raiding a political party before the election, what does that mean? Raiding people connected to one political party, one after another, what does that mean? Does that raid, is that raid purely to bring about black money? Is that what it is? Is that raid purely about tax evaders? Is that what it is? Or is that raid connected to some political motive? You decide. I am saying nothing. You decide. Now, if it is for tax evaders and getting out black money, very good. But if it is not, and it is because of some political motive, then I ask, is our revenue department, our income tax department, a tool in the hands of the government, in the hands of the central government, in the hands of one political party, and they can switch on, switch off, get raided, get jailed, get anybody? Which means that somewhere down the line, do we understand that today the most important thing about politics is not pre-poll alliance and post-poll alliance and campaigning and rallies and whatever political strategy, all that is different. The easiest way of today's election to win votes to form a government is just use ED and IT. Is that it? Is that how it works? Is that how it's working? And when it comes to the state government uses the police. So finally, all these constitutional bodies like the ED, IT, police, these are which are based on taxpayers' money, yours and mine money, and there to protect us, protect the interest of this nation, finally is ending up protecting the interest of one political party. Think about it. This is what is happening. One political party. So the entire system is trying to ensure that one political party stays in the power. If all these raids are happening because of a political party, if they are, like I said, if they're happening because they are, all of a sudden they realized that, these people, who are connected to this particular party are all tax evaders, and they go and they did the raid and they say, it was all because of tax evasion, then it's a different issue, Baba. I have nothing to say on that. But if it is not, then what are we talking about? That's my point number 1. Now let me talk about my point number 2 and the reason I spoke about Sanjay Raut's allegation that Enforcement Directorate has extorted money. Okay, now let me ask you, my second biggest problem with all of this is, when Nawab Malik was raided, when Nawab Malik was picked up by ED, they had bought central forces. They had bought that central reserve force with them, and Nawab Malik had his own policemen down, his own bodyguards down. They bought central reserve force. Mumbai police was guarding Nawab Malik, and finally they took Nawab Malik and went. Incidentally, from what I understood and what I understand, Mumbai police had no knowledge that there would be arrest or a raid or things in Nawab Malik's home. Now, as a matter of law, are the central agencies supposed to inform Mumbai police? No. They are not supposed to inform anybody. They can do their raids the way they want. But as a matter of practice, as a matter of good practice, they normally inform each other, because these central agencies and state agencies, they work in tandem, they work together. I have told this before, I am telling you now, they normally work together. Now, one political party uses one particular central agency. To combat this central agency, the state party uses a state agency. Now, finally, what happens is there is a conflict between a central agency and a state agency. Now, I am putting a very hypothetical situation in front of you. Please take it as a hypothetical situation. What happens? What happens if one day a state agency and a central agency has a combat, a possible physical combat? What happens? What would that blow up into? What I'm actually mentioning is a central agency fires at a state agency, or a state agency fires at a central agency, and they have a conflict between them. What happens to our constitution? What happens to our country? What happens to our system? What happens to everything that we have built over 75 years of our lives? And if that happens, it's not just about a state. It's about the country and the future of our country that I'm bothered about. So before I end the show, tomorrow is the day of the results. You've been watching elections on television channels for a long, long time. Tomorrow, try watching it with us in HW News Network. We'll be up from 7 o'clock. We'll be live from 7 o'clock. We'll try and get you the updates as it happens and the way it happens. And we will also try and talk to a lot of experts, talk about their understanding, their analysis. And what we'll try and do is we'll try and give you a true picture. A picture which is as is on ground. We will try and give you that. That is our promise. So tomorrow will be interesting, because possibly it's the first time in a long time that our understanding of the election as it was on ground and the exit polls showed radically two different things. So we'll discuss that in detail tomorrow. So I'll be really hoping to see you tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Start with us. This time elections, try out with HW News Network. Till I see you tomorrow. Namaskar.
नफरतों का बाजार, सपनों का कारोबार जारी है। अच्छे दिन तो झांकी थे, अमृतकाल अब बाकी है। मन की बात आप तक पहुंचती है, लेकिन आपकी आवाज का क्या? जिन्हें लोकतंत्र का चौथा स्तंभ कहते थे, वे अब सत्ता की गोद में हैं, सत्ता के सामने नतमस्तक हैं। लेकिन अब भी कुछ आवाजें हैं, बेखौफ, बेबाक, जिन पर लोगों को भरोसा है। चेहरा बदला है, तेवर वही है। देखिए मुझे, सतीश शाह को, HW न्यूज़ पर।